This isn't just a story about betrayal. It's about how trust can rot quietly in the walls of a friendship, and how you only see the cracks when the house is already burning. I met Emily when I was 14. We were kids, and she became my sister long before I ever knew what real sisterhood was. Her laugh was contagious, and she had this way of making everything feel lighter, even when the world around us wasn't. We bonded over heartbreaks, teenage rebellion, and midnight secrets whispered through cracked phone screens. She knew every boy I'd ever liked, and every time I got my heart broken, she was there. So when I met Alex, it felt only natural to introduce her. Alex was different, mature, gentle, quiet strength. I met him at a coffee shop in my second year of university. He spilled oat milk on my laptop, and somehow I ended up falling in love with him. Emily met him 2 months later at a dinner. She gave me this look, half amusement, half something else, something I didn't notice back then. "He's hot," she said, nudging me under the table. I laughed it off, but that smile she wore, I'd see it again, in a very different light. Over time, our trio became a constant. We did everything together: beach days, movie nights, drunken karaoke in our apartment. Emily was single most of the time, so she leaned into us. It felt innocent, harmless. I trusted her with everything, especially Alex. When he proposed, she helped me plan the entire wedding. She was my maid of honor. She stood beside me as I promised forever, the same forever she would eventually rip apart. But back then, I was blind and in love and naive. I didn't see the way her hand lingered on his shoulder during photos. I didn't question why she started texting him directly about surprise honeymoon ideas. I thought, foolishly, that some friendships were sacred. The first year of marriage was beautiful. We traveled. We built a home. We dreamed about children and stability and gray hair. Emily visited often, stayed over sometimes, helped with decorating and dinners. She even joked once that we were like a weird three-person family. I laughed. I always laughed, because I didn't see it coming. Not then, not even close. But now, looking back, the signs were there. In the quiet, in the closeness, in the comfort that was too familiar. And this chapter, it's the part I wish I could go back to, just to scream at myself, to look closer, to question more, to protect what I thought was safe. But I didn't. And everything after this would ruin me. I always believed that true betrayal doesn't come in a single blow. It arrives piece by piece, quietly, subtly, like a whisper you convince yourself you didn't hear. There were signs, so many signs. But I loved them both, my best friend and my husband, so deeply, so blindly that I rationalized everyone. It started small. They laughed too much. That kind of laugh that makes you feel like an outsider in your own living room. I remember one night, we were watching a movie. I barely paid attention to the plot because I was watching them watch each other. She made a joke I didn't understand. He laughed too hard. I asked what was so funny. They said, "Inside joke." But I didn't remember ever being on the outside before. When did she start coming over so much, helping him with yard work, sitting close on the couch when I'd go take a shower, always offering to cook his favorite meals, not mine, just his? She said she was just being a good friend. I told myself, she loves us, she's part of the family. But I ignored the way her eyes lingered when he wasn't looking, or worse, when he was. One night, I was charging his phone for him. It lit up, a message from her, just 3 words. "Same time tomorrow?" My chest sank, but the message was vague. Maybe they were planning a surprise, a gift for me. I wanted to believe that, but deep down, my body already knew. He started working later. She suddenly got a new gym membership to his gym. I remember waiting for him to come home one night. He texted, "Working late, don't wait up." She texted me the same hour, "Just heading to bed, talk tomorrow." The timing was too perfect. And still, I brushed it off. Because what kind of person suspects their best friend? It was my birthday. She said she had a family emergency. He said his boss called an urgent meeting. So I sat alone in a restaurant with a melting slice of cheesecake. Then saw a photo on Instagram, two blurred figures in the background of someone else's story. His shirt, her bag. They weren't with their excuses. They were together. And yet, I still told myself I was just being insecure. I talked to my mom that night. She said, "Honey, if you go looking for problems in a relationship, you'll always find something." That sentence stuck with me because it's true. But what no one tells you is this: if you ignore your gut long enough, it stops whispering and starts screaming. I started having dreams, or maybe they were warnings. In them, she'd wear my clothes, sit in my seat, hold his hand while I stood outside the window, banging to be let in. I'd wake up drenched in sweat, heart pounding, but I never said a word. Because dreams aren't proof, are they? There's a strange kind of paralysis that comes with suspicion. You're afraid of being wrong, but terrified of being right. If I asked the wrong question, I might destroy the life I loved. So instead, I became an actress in my own home, smiling, pretending, numbing. But the truth? I wasn't protecting my marriage. I was delaying the explosion. We often tell ourselves that betrayal comes with fireworks, a found message, a lipstick on the collar, a sudden confession. But real betrayal, it's a slow poisoning. And sometimes the worst wounds aren't the ones they give you. It's the ones you inflict on yourself by staying silent. After the phone call, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. My mind was racing with images of them together. My best friend and my husband, the two people I trusted the most. But denial is a powerful thing. A part of me still needed to believe I was wrong. I started noticing more patterns, business trips that overlapped with her family emergencies, her scent on the passenger seat of his car, her favorite coffee order on our grocery bill when she hadn't been to the house in weeks. And then I found the photo, a blurry image buried in my husband's hidden photo archive, her reflection in our bedroom mirror. I became someone I never thought I'd be. I installed a GPS tracker in his car. I monitored their social media. I even confronted her casually, trying to catch her in a lie. And she was good, too good. It wasn't until I followed her one night, thinking she was going to visit her mom, that the truth really began to unravel. She didn't go home. She went to a hotel. He showed up 10 minutes later. I stayed outside in my car, crying, shaking, heartbroken. I wanted to believe it was innocent. Maybe they were meeting to talk. Maybe this was just a misunderstanding. But when I saw them holding hands through the window, when I saw him touch her face the way he used to touch mine, I knew. Back home, I broke into his email. I found an entire folder hidden under the alias Project Maya. It was all there: emails, hotel bookings, gifts. But what crushed me most were the messages. "I love you more than her. We'll have our time soon. She's just a phase I need to move through. Me, A phase from my husband to my best friend. I wanted revenge. I wanted justice, but more than anything, I wanted to know why. So I pretended I knew nothing. I watched them both closely. I let them think they were winning. I started recording conversations, taking screenshots, setting traps. Every time she hugged me, I held her longer, just to feel the weight of her betrayal. Every time he said, "I love you," I answered, "I know," because I finally did. By the end of that month, I had every piece of the puzzle. I knew how long it had gone on. I knew how it started. I knew how far they were willing to go. But I still didn't know the worst part until the day I got the anonymous message. It read, "You don't know half of it. Check the safe." And that's when everything changed. Have you ever uncovered a double life? Or been betrayed by someone you trusted blindly? Let me know in the comments. It was a Saturday night, one of those rare evenings where life felt normal. Jacob suggested inviting Clara for dinner, just the three of us. He said it casually while sipping his morning coffee. I said yes. Of course I did. She was my best friend. I remember every detail of that night. The wine was Italian, the roast chicken, my grandmother's recipe. I lit candles, Clara brought dessert, Jacob poured drinks. We laughed, played music. But under it all, something felt off, like I was hosting a ghost I couldn't see, but could feel. It was when Clara laughed at Jacob's joke. The way she tilted her head, touched his arm. She looked at him like he was hers. And Jacob, he didn't even flinch. He smiled. That smile. Not the one he gave me, the one he used to give me. In that moment, I wasn't a wife. I was a spectator. I excused myself, locked myself in the bathroom, stared at my reflection like I was interrogating a stranger. "You're overreacting," I told myself. "You're insecure." But deep down, I knew something wasn't just wrong. Something had already happened. When I came out, Clara had left her phone on a kitchen counter. A voice note popped up from a contact named Jay. Curiosity, desperation. I played it. "Miss you already. That dress. God, you're poison in all the right ways. She doesn't suspect a thing." I couldn't breathe. I replayed it, and again, and again. I handed her the phone when she returned. She looked at it. Her eyes widened just slightly, just for a second, then returned to normal. "Thanks," she said, like nothing had happened. And Jacob? He kissed me on the forehead before bed that night. The final insult. I didn't sleep. I watched them sleep, both of them. Through memories, the birthday parties, the hospital visits, the nights we cried on the kitchen floor. I watched those memories like they were dying in front of me. And I said nothing, not that night. Recap the fallout of Chapter 4 and set the tone for this chapter's unraveling. After catching them together, my mind didn't stop spinning. But what came next wasn't healing. It was war, lies, manipulation, gaslighting, and worst of all, betrayal that spread beyond just the two of them. When I confronted Emily again, she sobbed, not out of guilt, but fear. She wasn't sorry. She was scared of getting caught. She denied everything, said I was seeing things, said he was just helping her with something. I wanted to believe her. I needed to believe my best friend wouldn't do this to me. But denial is a seductive poison, and I drank it. Soon, it wasn't just her lies I was battling, it was his too. He told me I was overreacting, that I was letting jealousy ruin our marriage. The worst part? They turned it all around, made me feel like I was the problem. I started questioning my sanity. I replayed every moment, every glance, every whisper, and asked myself, am I imagining this? I wasn't, but they wanted me to think I was. Word started spreading, but not the truth. Emily told our friend group I was paranoid. She painted me as unstable, broken, and slowly, people began to pull away. Not all at once, but in subtle ways. Unanswered texts, missed calls, excuses, when the people you thought would stand by you begin to drift. It cuts just as deep as the original betrayal. But then, something shifted. One night, a mutual friend messaged me privately. You're not crazy. I saw them together too. And just like that, the mask cracked. I began collecting every message, every slip up, every thread. I created a folder, digital proof of the truth they wanted buried. Because if no one else believed me, at least I would have the receipts. I didn't go back to her for revenge. I went for clarity. I showed her the messages, the photos, the timeline. She was silent, not ashamed, just caught. It just happened, she said. I didn't plan it. But betrayal isn't an accident. It's a choice. 1,000 little choices that lead to destruction. That night, I realized something. I wasn't just mourning a marriage or a friendship. I was grieving the version of me that trusted too easily. The version that believed love alone could protect me from people who never deserved it in the first place. And in that grief, I began to heal. After the confrontation, I tried to piece my life back together, but her shadow was everywhere. Her laugh in old voicemails, her handwriting on notes I couldn't bring myself to throw away. I started therapy, not because I was weak, but because I needed someone to tell me I wasn't crazy. The therapist said something that stuck. You didn't lose a friend, you lost an illusion. I began journaling. Day by day, I tracked how often I thought about her. At first, it was every hour, then every day, then every few days. Healing was slow, but it was happening. One night, I went through an old photo album. There she was, standing next to me at my wedding. Her smile, too perfect. I zoomed in, and for the first time, I noticed how she was looking at him. Even then, I started replaying moments when she convinced me to forgive his little mistakes. When she talked about him with this weird admiration. Was it admiration or obsession? I found a text thread from 2 years ago. She said, if I weren't your best friend, I'd totally steal him. I laughed at the time. Now it reads like a prophecy. My therapist asked me to list the signs, not just the ones I ignored, but the ones she hid. How she always needed to know where he was. How she asked too many questions about our fights. The worst part? She comforted me when I cried about him. She told me I deserved better, all while stabbing me in the back. That's the cruelty. She wore the mask of support while plotting the fall. I looked up her social media again. She changed her username, deleted old posts. But the damage was already done. My story was written in scars. And yet, there was a strange power in knowing the truth. The mask had fallen, the illusion shattered, and from the ruins of that lie, I was finally free to start being me again. They say, when the truth doesn't set you free, lies will try to bury you. After the fallout from the confrontation, I thought the worst had passed. I was wrong. That's when the whispers began. It started with odd glances at the grocery store, people suddenly cutting conversations short when I approached. Friends I had known for years stopped replying to messages. Something had shifted, and it felt orchestrated. Then came the anonymous text. You should be ashamed. He left you because you're broken. My heart dropped. Who would say that? Why now? The next day, another message. No wonder he cheated. Everyone knows. Someone was poisoning my name behind my back, and I didn't have to guess long to know who it was. Emily, my best friend turned backstabber. But she wasn't just spreading gossip. She was telling stories, exaggerated, twisted versions of reality, designed to make me look like the villain. She told people I was emotionally unstable, that I had pushed him away, that I was obsessed, bitter, even dangerous. And to my horror, people believed her. Why? Because she didn't just steal my husband. She stole the narrative. And the worst part? She did it so calmly, like she had rehearsed the role for years. At this point, I realized Emily wasn't just my friend. She had always been a rival in disguise. She used to compliment my clothes, but only after buying something similar. She'd encourage my dreams and quietly undermine them. She knew everything about my insecurities because I trusted her with them. Now she was weaponizing that trust. But I wouldn't stay silent anymore. This chapter is the darkest yet, not because of what they did together, but because of what she did alone. Ruining someone's reputation isn't impulsive, it's calculated. And so I started documenting everything: the texts, the calls, the sudden shift in how others treated me. I reached out to one of the friends who had ghosted me. Why haven't you answered my messages? The reply was immediate. I didn't know what to believe anymore. That shattered me more than anything else. When someone has to choose sides and chooses silence. But I was done being the quiet one. I'd spent months putting the pieces together. Now it was time to flip the script. I began having flashbacks. Every shared smile between them, every casual touch. Was I blind, or did I just choose not to see it? I started doubting every friendship, every moment of joy. I called Tom, Lisa's husband. We hadn't spoken in years. His voice cracked when I told him what I knew. He said, "She told me I was crazy, said I was paranoid, gaslit me until I didn't know which way was up." We sat in silence on the phone, two strangers stitched together by betrayal. I stopped eating. I stopped sleeping. My apartment looked like a war zone. I couldn't go outside without wondering if people knew. I screamed into pillows. I threw wine glasses at walls. I started writing everything down. It felt like the only way to keep myself sane. I began therapy, but even that felt performative. I couldn't escape the inner monologue. Was I not enough? Did they ever love me? Am I broken? I deleted all our photos, every trip, every birthday, except for one, the three of us smiling on my engagement day. That one stayed. One day, a letter arrived. No name, just my address and his handwriting. Inside, "I'm sorry. I never meant for this to happen. I was lost. We both were." Enclosed was a photo of them on a beach, kissing. It felt like a taunt, a final blow. I burned the letter. Lisa posted on social media, portraying herself as the victim. Sometimes, love chooses you. Don't judge what you don't understand. Hundreds of likes, comments calling her brave. I realized the internet wasn't real life, but the pain it caused, that was real. My circle shrank. Friends didn't know how to talk to me. Some believed Lisa's version of events. I stopped explaining. What was the point? I found myself haunted by her voice, her laugh, his scent on old clothes. I couldn't escape the past. It followed me like a shadow. I wrote obsessively, pages and pages about what happened. I didn't know if it was therapy or torture, but it kept me breathing. One night, I heard a knock. I opened the door, and it wasn't him. It was her, standing there like nothing happened. And she said the one thing I never expected: I need your help. There's only so long a lie can survive in the light. And when one thread unravels, everything collapses. I wasn't even supposed to be at the bookstore that day. I had gone to clear my mind, to escape the echo of my empty house. And there she was, Isabel, alone. No husband in sight, no smile, just guilt. She froze when she saw me. I could see it all over her face. But instead of walking away, I approached. "You owe me the truth," I said. And for once, she didn't run. Isabel started talking. It wasn't the apology I expected. It was justification. She claimed it just happened, that she never meant to fall for him, that I had pushed him away with my coldness. It wasn't an explanation, it was a defense. I realized then that she had rewritten the story in her own mind to feel less like a traitor. But truth doesn't bend forever. That night I remembered something. A dusty old shoebox Isabel once left at my place years ago. Inside were photos, letters, and a small journal. I hadn't opened it in forever, but curiosity got the best of me. As I read the pages, my heart sank. It wasn't just my husband. There were others, married men, flings, emotional manipulations. This wasn't an accident. This was a pattern. How could I have missed it? The manipulation disguised as charm, the jealousy she passed off as loyalty. She had always been in competition with me. I just never saw it. And the worst part? I remembered moments where I doubted myself. Because she planted those doubts. She knew exactly what she was doing, every step of the way. I wrote Isabel a letter, not to forgive, not to make peace, but to end it. Every word was a boundary drawn in blood. I mailed it the next morning and blocked her on everything, not out of spite, but out of survival. She had taken too much already. We often think betrayal ends with the act, but sometimes it takes months, even years, to understand the full extent. I didn't lose a husband and a best friend. I lost the illusions that kept me blind. And as painful as that is, it's also liberation. Because now, I finally see them, both of them, for who they really were. There comes a moment when the truth refuses to stay buried, when silence becomes a scream. Chapter 9 is that moment. After weeks of planning, heartbreak, and uncovering every secret, I decided it was time to confront them both. Not for revenge, for closure. I chose a neutral space, a cafe where we used to go together, public, controlled, a place where no one could hide behind drama. I messaged both of them the same time, same place, and I waited. Emily showed up first. She wore guilt on her face like cheap makeup. Her eyes searched for pity, but found none. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I simply asked, "Why?" She started rambling about how he needed comfort, how she didn't plan it, how it had just happened. I almost laughed. She said it wasn't love. It was loneliness. Jason walked in 10 minutes late like always. He looked thinner, like the weight of his lies had finally caught up. He sat down quietly, no apology, just silence. I asked him the same question. Why? He blamed me, said I was too distant, too focused on my career, that Emily understood him in a way I never could. They looked at each other when he said that. And I finally saw it. The bond formed through betrayal. I told them everything I knew about the hotel, the secret messages, the stolen moments. I wanted them to squirm under the weight of truth. Emily broke down. Jason got defensive. Accusations flew, and I just watched it all unravel. That's the thing about liars. Eventually, they start lying to each other. I stood up, told them I forgave them, not for them, for me. I said, "You didn't just destroy a marriage, you destroyed a decade of trust, but you don't get to destroy me." And with that, I walked out. Closure isn't about them, it's about you deciding it's over and meaning it. Sometimes strength is silent. Sometimes peace sounds like goodbye. The atmosphere is still. A slow piano fades in. The storm has passed, but has the healing begun? I never thought I'd write a letter to the woman who tore my life apart. But after months of silence, I needed to say it. Not for her, but for me. So I did. You broke me, Claire, but you didn't finish me. I was loyal. I loved both of you. I wanted to believe the best. You made me question the very idea of trust. I didn't send the letter. I burned it. Just when I thought it was over, I got a message. From her. A private email. No subject line. Just one sentence. I made a mistake. I never stopped being your best friend. I stared at it for hours. I didn't reply. Instead, I went to see her. One last time. We met at the lake where we used to go as kids. She was already there. Hair tied back, no makeup, eyes red. No words for a full minute, just silence and water. Then she whispered, "You don't have to forgive me. I just wanted to tell you. I regret everything. He left me too." I felt nothing. No rage, no sadness, just emptiness. And somehow that scared me more than hate. I asked her why. She told me she didn't know. Said she was lonely, jealous, broken. That she didn't think I'd ever forgive her, so she didn't care anymore. She blamed herself. She blamed him. She blamed our past. And in that moment, I realized something terrifying. Even she didn't understand her betrayal. I walked away that day without a hug, without a scream, just walked. And with every step, I left behind years of friendship, love, trust, and pain. I cried later, not for them, but for the version of me who believed in people blindly. She died the day I found out, and I buried her beside our memories. Today, I live in a different city. I started painting again. My circle is small, my heart is guarded, but I smile more. Some wounds don't heal. They become part of you, and I've learned to wear mine with quiet pride. This isn't a happy ending, but it's mine, and that is enough. Have you ever had to walk away from the people you love the most? Comment below. Your story might help someone else find peace. Subscribe to the Dark Feed for more true confessions, the ones we don't talk about in daylight.